23 years old, I'm living in a little apartment in Lake Charles, Louisiana, little tiny duplex. One rainy night, this dude, Danny, comes in with drugs. Another day where I said, I'm gonna quit today. Now it's 11 o'clock at night. I didn't quit. 10 times I failed again. Danny leaves the house, and when Danny leaves the house, I didn't know, but he set it up to rob me and beat me up. Danny leaves the house, and I let him out the front door, and this other big dude in the rain, a rainy Louisiana night, puts a .45 caliber pistol in my face right here. Okay, I had a plate in my hand. I had something to eat, and I had a plate when I walked Danny to the door, and this guy had to be this big, hovered over me with a gun in my face, and when he did, my reaction was to hit him with the plate in the face. You know, I broke this plate. It was an unbreakable plate, one of those plates you can't break. And I broke it in his face, like just cracked it in his face. Thing breaks and he becomes like a monster. This scar right here in my head is, he took that .45 caliber and jammed it in my face. Like, I don't mean jammed it, I mean cracked me right here in the forehead. Blood's coming down. Every wall in this apartment, in this room, and the ceiling has blood on it. But this was the exclamation mark on where my life had gone from being a good kid to this far from dying. I spent 3 days in the hospital, and I'm like, I'm done. No more drugs. I'm done using drugs, okay? Guess what happens? I'm using drugs 15 minutes later, 10 times a day in the hospital. My mom says to me, you're no longer welcome in my home. You're no longer welcome in my business. I don't want to see you anymore. And that was the day my life turned around. So 24 hours later, I was in a treatment center because my mom had the courage to say, enough is enough, I'm done. I go to this treatment center, I'm there 30 days. For the first 30 days in 7, 8, 9 years, I don't use drugs. Oh, wow, I don't have to use drugs. Finally, that thing where I said I was quitting 10 times a day, for the first time in my life, I was able to quit successfully. And before I leave, the counselor grabs me and the counselor says to me, look, dude, I'll see you back here. Probably, you know, if you don't die, I'll see you back here. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm not coming back here. And he's like, oh no, you're coming back. And then he gives me the lecture. He's like, you'll never make it. See, when you go to a treatment center, you tell them everything about your life, like all your secrets, all your inhibitions, and your, you know, the things you want to do in your life, right? And so I'm telling them in this thing, everything I've done wrong, I share my whole life, but I also share with them what I want to do, my inspiration in life. I'm going to write books, I'm going to speak to audiences, I'm going to help people, I'm going to tell people the story about drugs and how damaging they are, and I'm going to be somebody, I tell them. And they're like, no, dude, you're a drug addict. And all you're ever going to be, this is what the counselor tells me, all you're ever going to be is a drug addict. You need to give up all the ideas of writing books, speaking to audiences, being rich. I always wanted to be rich. I wanted financially to be rich my whole life. I wanted to be my dad. I wanted to be the guy that could take care of his family. They said, you need to give up all those ideas and settle for one thing, not using drugs. If the day ends and you don't use drugs, that is a good day for you. At 25 years old, I am not going to live the rest of my life just not using drugs every day. I'm going to be somebody. If I had free time, I looked at my life, I just did a really good inventory of my life. Every time I had free time, I got in trouble. So I knew I had to, 1, eliminate the old bad friends. 2, I had to keep all free time busy. And I said, what are you good at, Grant? And I'm like, what are you good at? What are you really good at? And I'm like, I'm good at going all the way. Because even with the drugs, I was an all the way kind of guy, right? So I'm like, you need to like use the addiction, right? I need to 10X everything. You got to start liking something, man. And more importantly, you got to get good at something. So I said, I'm going to take the job that I don't like and I'm going to get great at it. If I needed to make 1 call, I would make 10. If I needed to see 1 customer, if I thought I needed to see 1 customer, I would fill it up with 10 customers. Whatever I thought I needed to do, I literally took this drug problem and poured this obsession with I'm gonna just 10 times everything and keep myself busy. I was so terrified of free time. I was more worried about free time than I was a drug. I'm gonna get great at one thing. Some therapist, some psychiatrist is gonna say, oh, this dude's got ADD. I've already been told that, please. ADHD, been told that already. Bipolar, already been labeled that, okay? I've had every label that the psychs put in books, I've been labeled that, okay? Look, I never had any of those problems. I had potential that was being unused. So I wake up early, I get a workout in, and I get to the office. When I get to the office, a calendar's laid out, and I need to see every 30 minutes something filled in that calendar. I don't end up doing things that are destructive when I'm busy doing things that are constructive. The truth is, I was never a drug addict. I just had too much free time and made bad choices. This planet is filled with bad choices. If you were filled up all day long with activities, if you were addicted to productivity, if you were junkied out on potential, you wouldn't have time for all the other parts. What about burnout? You're going to burn out? Look, I'm 60 years old. The more I do, the more I can do, and the younger I get. I'm not worried about burnout. I am not a candle. Candles burn out. Spiritual beings don't.